As a deer hunter, I want to know all I can about America's favorite big game animal. That's why I became a deer farmer. Without deer farms, we lose our greatest resource for research and whitetail management. With them, we gain more knowledge than ever before. Join me as we discover the truth about whitetails and meet those who work every day to preserve this great species for future generations. My name is Keith Warren, and this is Deer and Wildlife Stories.
Boy, the weatherman, I think he told a fib. Today, everybody, we're in Illinois. We're starting out at Millsview Whitetail Farm. We're going to show you some big old bucks. If the rain doesn't get us first.
On today's show, I'll be in the state of Illinois as we visit two different whitetail deer farms. Our first stop is Millsview Whitetails, owned by my friend Greg Mills.
My name's Greg Mills. My wife and I own Millsview Whitetails here in St. Joseph, Illinois. I'm the sixth generation here on our family farm in East Central Illinois. We are row crop farmers with corn and soybeans. We started raising whitetails in 2006. That was shortly after we decided to get out of the confinement hog business. Currently, we have approximately 85 adult deer. Our deer farm is about 12 acres in size. We also have a working facility and a barn that we use for testing purposes. We're coming from an agricultural background, and after leaving the hog business, the deer farming just made sense to us. Our love and passion for deer hunting, we decided to start raising deer in place of the hog business. It's been a really good fit. A little bit of a learning curve, but still it has the same type of animal husbandry that you need to practice in the livestock business. And right now we're trying to do this TV show with Keith, and we've had a little over 3 inches of rain the last 24 hours, and we'll see what happens. It just keeps raining on us.
Okay, it's the middle of August, and the bucks are, I would say 95% of the bucks are already done, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're real close.
And so if you're going to come to a deer farm, you really need to come, in my opinion, if you want to see them in the velvet, before the end of August. But it's the middle of August. It is rainy as can be. Conditions aren't real good for filming, but it seems like these bucks right here are cooperating. So tell me, who are these two guys?
This pen, Keith, the one that is Rockin' Express, that's our main herd sire, probably responsible for 70% of our offspring the last 2 years. We really like him. He's 4 years old this year.
Okay, so when you say Rockin' Express?
Yes.
Okay, do you have him in the registry, the NADAR
Yes, he
registry?
is. Yes, he is.
So somebody could take a look at the pedigree and actually see his background?
That's correct.
Okay, so you bred a lot of deer out here to him. So you've got fawns on the ground right now?
We've got fawns on the ground and a pen full of really nice yearlings out of Rockin' Express. That's correct.
Okay, well, we'll see those yearlings here in a little bit. Tell me about the other buck.
The other buck's just a companion deer. I don't like to leave just the one mature buck in the pen by himself, and it's nice just to have the two in here together.
You know, that's an important point, folks. You need to realize that deer are social animals. I mean,
That's right.
They're social. They want to be together. Okay, this is the time of year bucks want to be together, and does want to be together, does and fawns be together. And so, as a deer farmer, we don't want to ever leave one single deer in a pen too long, because literally they're social animals. They need to have a companion. Let's go take a look at some other deer.
All righty, sounds good.
Closed captioning is brought to you by 7 Seas Whitetails. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by Record Rack Deer Feed, the North American Deer Farmers Association, New Dart, the North American Deer Registry, Beam Fence Company, WinATexasDeerFarm.com, Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics, Headgear LLC, Superior Milk Replacer, Newport Laboratories, Advanced Deer Genetics, Whitetail Supplies, and by Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch.
Wow, that's all I can say. I mean, for yearlings, these are real pretty yearlings. I mean, the thing that strikes me, the first initial impression I get is they're clean.
Yes, yes.
I mean, a lot of people wind up having yearlings that'll score more than this, but these are clean. I mean, there's obviously a reason for that. Tell everybody.
Well, that's exactly what we're breeding for, Keith. With the doe herd, And with Rock and Express, we're concentrating on clean, typical whitetails that still carry a really nice frame score. Frame score is important, but we want to keep them pretty clean. And this is definitely the best group of yearlings that we've had up to date. We're really happy with them.
Well, you ought to be. I mean, they're really pretty. By and large, they're very symmetrical, very clean. And I think that, you know, the way the market is going, the deer market, folks, the deer market really is going towards the look rather than the score. I mean, there's a lot of guys, what's he score? What's he score? And although score is important, frame to me and to most people now in our industry is much more important. I mean, what is the look? And so when you can grow a pretty yearling, odds are he's going to grow up into a pretty 2-year-old and pretty 3-year-old. If you, in my experience has been, if we go to these farms and we wind up seeing a not so clean yearling, one that's got trash and stuff, by the time he's 2, he's got a lot of trash. By the time he's 3, he's got a ton of trash. And to me, that's not where the industry is heading. The industry is heading towards clean, typical deer. Okay, so if somebody was to want to buy a deer from you, is every deer that you have in the North American Deer Registry?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, they
so
are.
you
All
can
of
assure
our breeding herd is in the North American Deer Registry. That's correct.
And the reason why that's important is that it gives you certainty that you're getting what they say you're getting.
Exactly.
Let's go take a look at some 2-year-olds. I want to see what you've got there.
All righty, sounds good.
Well, they seem nice and gentle. You can tell you spend a lot of time with them.
Oh, yeah, we do.
And they're pretty doggone hungry right now. But you know, in looking at the pen is big. I mean, your pen is certainly a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be for the buck pen. How big is this pen?
All these pens that we're looking at right now are an acre. The larger buck pens, we've got them at 2.5 acres apiece. Give them a little bit more room as they get a little bigger.
Okay. So if somebody wants to buy a deer, a lot of deer farmers will not sell a yearling buck. Okay, they won't, and the reason why is because they may really blow up at 2, and they want to get the most value they can out of them. Right. But if people want to buy a yearling buck from you, can they?
Yeah, we have actually sold some yearling bucks in the past. Not very many. A lot of times people they'll want to see if they, you know, what they look like at 2 when they make that jump. But yeah, we have sold yearling bucks, and we probably will in the future also.
Very nice looking 2-year-olds. Greg, I am very impressed. I mean, they're pretty. I'm looking at the pen. It's a big pen. You've got grass back here. Why is the grass cut up front and not cut in the back?
Well, the deer, the fresh browse, I keep half the pens mowed. That gives that continual growth on the grass through the summer, and that's what they don't like to browse the mature tall grass. So we keep it mowed, new growth. That's the best palatable browse they can have out there in those pens, all orchard grass. And then we leave the back tall. That'll get, you know, 3.5, almost 4 feet tall in the summer. The bucks love to lay in there, shades them.
This is the time right here. Okay, it is mid-August, and the bucks are just about grown. It's a time when all of a sudden, this is the money crop right here. I want you to know that. This is the money crop. And so what'll happen is people that are looking to buy breeding stock or people that are looking to stock their private property with, they're going to come out here this time of year and they're going to take a look at the deer and they're going to say, okay, I want that one, that one, that one. And somebody may come out and say, I want them all. And so literally as getting into deer farming, this is what you're hoping for. You're hoping to get, you're looking forward to this. This is a big payday. This is like a farmer with the corn and soybeans. This is when you're harvesting. Right now is when these deer, and they're beautiful deer, that the buyers of these beautiful deer start hitting the trail, start looking at all the deer in the market. And so if you're interested in looking at Greg's deer, give them a phone number to call so they can set up a time to come look at them.
Phone number is 217-202-8644. You can reach me on that number just about any time.
Now it's time for the Beam Fence Minute.
I'm Mark Beam from Beam Fence Company. Today I'd like to talk to you about my Stretchmaster 100. This unit is used for putting up 4-foot up to 61-inch wire. It's run off a skid steer or anything with pallet forks. What's nice about this unit is that you can put up so much wire so much quicker because as the wire spins off the machine, the wire is standing up. When you're ready to tighten the wire, hit your hydraulic levers on your skid steer or tractor. The hydraulic clamp closes down on the wire, holds it, then your unit stretches the wire as it pulls ahead. With the Stretchmaster 100, you can eliminate all your chains and pulleys and clamp bars. The machine does it all. I'm Mark Beam. If you want more information about this product or other products that we sell, contact us at beamfencecompany.com.
Rusty Carr's been a friend of mine for many years, I don't know, 5+ years. And I've spent a lot of time out here with Rusty, getting to know him. And Rusty's a guy that absolutely loves the deer business. And Rusty has a knack. And Rusty's knack is to be able to actually look at the pedigrees of deer and actually build really big deer from those pedigrees. And so when I'm with Rusty, I look at him, I think many times, I mean, he's just a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. And I think, he's the kind of guy that really doesn't have his act together as far as knowing pedigrees. But when you look at the name of his farm here, Dominant Genetics, Rusty really dominates in the genetic field. And the reason why is he's just got a knack at producing great big deer looking at the genetics.
My name is Rusty Carr. I live in Illinois. I've been deer farming for 12 years. So the genetics of my big yearling is Triple Crown, who is the deepest pedigree in Texas, on top of Blockbuster's sister.
All the bucks in this pen are 2.
Yes, sir.
See, that's what amazes me. I mean, I look at them across the board and I'm thinking, I mean, they just don't look to me to be 2-year-old. I'm talking about, I look at their bodies. Every single one of them is beautiful across the board. The average size, I mean, if you were gonna put a tape on them, the average size is probably 230, 240. You know, for a 2-year-old, that's the average. And when you start looking at some of these guys, I mean, some of them are approaching 300.
Oh yeah, we got several over 300.
All right, so all these are yearling bucks.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he is so modest. I mean, I look at these guys, I'm just like, I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Every year you keep cranking them out, and you know you've got the right genetics. Clearly, I mean the frames on them. I mean, there's some in here that are, well, some of them are way over 200 inches. I mean, they're really big. But we talk about cost of entry in the market. Okay, if you're a guy, a deer farmer that really is, or if you're a guy that wants to be a deer farmer, how much does it cost to get in the market? Tell them what you'd sell them a doe for.
Normally, my lowest price is around $2,500. Multiple, you get, you know, the multiple more you buy, you know, I might give you a better deal.
Right, but I'm going to point this out, Rusty. Somebody spends $2,500 on a deer. Do you realize that for $2,500 today, you can buy the genetics that 5 years ago, well, you couldn't have bought genetics like that for any amount of money. I mean, right. You think about that. So for $2,500, you can come out here, you can buy a deer or that's got the genetics that will produce stuff like this.
Exactly, and that's what's producing some of the best deer out here is not from the best genetic. It is from the strongest anchor doe, which isn't always the hottest doe in the auction house.
Right.
So I highly recommend don't go purely for genetics. Sometimes it pays to spin off and breed with other things other than the highest genetics. I've been breeding for 12 years, so I went to all the markets, hit the best production does in the world. I've paid $50,000, $30,000
for one deer.
For one deer. So now 10 years later, they've been backed up and bred off the farm that's producing better than before, just they're not worth as much, and that's what I'm selling for $2,500. Actually, they're genetics, so.
I'm telling you folks, it will blow your mind when you take a look at these pedigrees. These deer, they're all in the North American Deer Registry. They've all got pedigrees that are long and deep, and as you look at all these bucks, these yearling bucks, the 2-year-old bucks that we just showed you, and this big 1-year-old buck that we're fixing to show you, as you look at them, every one of them has got a phenomenal pedigree, and they've got that $50,000 doe in the background, $30,000 doe in the background, and it's stack, compounded, and that's the reason why they have what they have out here. Again, if somebody wants information, to come out here and take a look at your deer, give them a phone number.
309-275-9567.
Oh, wow. Look at that. And that's your yearling.
Yes, sir.
I know now why everybody's talking about him. Just take a look at that, folks. I mean, look how pretty he is. I mean, he's just beautiful. Now, I got to ask you a question. Why in the world, well, there's another buck in here with him, but all the rest of these are does with fawns. Now, what's the deal there?
Well, I sort of took a little chance last year. Well, not a little chance. It was pretty much a sure thing, but they had 4-inch buttons, looked awesome as fawns. It was the #1 buck in Texas last year. I bred with my best time producing doe on my farm. I get results like this.
And so the reason why he's in here alone is because you knew that he was going to be something special.
Exactly. I wanted no chance of him getting hurt, so it just worked great.
Okay, and folks, I think that's really important to point out that predictability as a deer farmer is real important. And when you deal with the right genetics and you have the right production, I mean, you know over and over again what the deer are producing, I think it's you know, you lessen your odds, you improve your odds of success. And that's what Rusty is doing. And just look at him. He's absolutely gorgeous. And as a yearling, he's got the blood stacked up in his pedigree. And you take a look at it through Nadar and take a look at that pedigree. Like you said, you took the top producing Texas sire, put him on your top producing sire in your herd, and look what you get. I've been coming to Rusty Cars for years, and when I'm in Illinois, anywhere in the area, I'm going to come by here. Rusty's been doing this a long time, and he's further along than many people are that have been in the industry for 12 years, and the reason why is because he started with the right does. When you come out here to Rusty's, you're going to see a lot of deer, big deer. But there was one thing that you're not going to see a lot of. You're not going to see a lot of old deer. And what I mean by that is the market is so strong for the deer, the type of deer that Rusty is growing, that they don't make it here any longer than about 2 years. When you take a look at his 2-year-olds in the pen, Rusty's got a lot of non-typical genetics. I mean, the big frame non-typical genetics. There's a lot of people that like that. Now, meanwhile, Greg Mills at his farm, Greg really focuses on the typicals. That's what's so cool about deer farming. It's almost like the flavor of the month. What do you like? Do you like drop tines? Do you like up tines? Do you like cheaters and flyers? I mean, what do you like? So that's the neat thing about deer. We raise them up, and whether you're Greg Mills and you like nice, clean, typical frames, or you're like Rusty Carr where you just like giant frames with a lot of extras, you can get it by contacting either one of these guys. You may wonder what the cost of getting into the deer farming industry would be. If you deal with Rusty Carr, give him a call, and he can sell you a deer for as low as $2,500. You'll buy a doe. And the does, I mean, take a look at these. They're gentle, they've got great pedigrees, and for $2,500, he can put you into the deer farming industry. And the good thing about dealing with Rusty is the fact that Rusty's going to help you. Rusty has got 12 years of knowledge behind him. He's had everything that could happen on a deer farm happen on a deer farm, so he's learned from all these experiences. And that's the cool thing about dealing with a deer farmer. They want to see you become successful. And so you need to surround yourself with people, with deer farmers. You need to start with a deer farmer that's going to make sure that he provides you with good customer service, a great product, and he helps you after the sale, long after the sale.
So all you people at home on the couch want to know how long it takes for this hobby to make you money? 2 or 3 years, having a bred doe, having that buck get a little older, to get a little more mature, you'll have people calling you and asking you to get that genetics. Deer farming, you don't have to have a big plot of land to have a successful deer farm. You can have 1 acre of ground, you can buy a few deer.
All right, so every week we try to get a deer from a farm that we wind up challenging the viewers with your ability to score. And so viewers, I want you to take a look. Rusty, I want you to pick out a buck out there and just point him out to us, and we'll show the viewers what deer it is. And if you get the closest to this deer's actual score, and we're talking about gross score, Rusty's gonna go ahead and send you the antlers. So what you need to do is you need to go to Facebook right now and enter, tell your friends, enter, because his antlers are gonna be sent to the person who gets closest to the score. So which deer is it gonna be? Just point them out.
That one right over there.
All right, take a look at that buck right there, folks. All right, what's his name?
So we're gonna see how well Keith's genetics produce horns, because his name is Keith.
Oh. So go ahead and guess Keith's score then, folks. I mean, take a look at him. I mean, that's a deer Keith right there, I'm telling you. You surprised me with that. Okay, good. Grant says, my brother and I inherited a hunting preserve and the genetics just aren't what they used to be years ago. Someone told me about genetic stagnation could be to blame. What is it, and can you help advise on what to do? Grant, good question. Genetic stagnation can be to blame. In a confined environment, the animals need to have genetic diversity, just like in the wild. One thing that you can do is you can contact the local deer farmer. Deer farmers have lots of deer with genetic diversity, really, really good genetics. And by bringing deer in from a deer farmer, it will improve the genetics overall, and you'll see a difference in no time. That's a good question. If you'd like to contact either Rusty Carr or Greg Mills, you can go to my website. We'll have a direct link to both of those guys where you can get in touch with them and line up a farm tour of your own. If you have any questions about deer farming, shoot me an email. I promise you, I'll get right back with you. Make sure and follow us also on Facebook. I'm Keith Warren, and thanks for watching Deer and Wildlife Stories.
If you have any questions or comments about today's show, make sure and send me an email and I'll get right back to you. If you'd like more information on deer farming in general, make sure and contact the North American Deer Farmers Association.